He said it to end the argument. That was the mistake. We were standing in the kitchen, the kind of argument that didn't have a clear beginning because it had been going on for years in different forms. I had questioned a decision he'd made. Nothing dramatic. Just asked why something was being handled a certain way. He took it as a challenge. He always did. "You think you're smarter than everyone," he snapped. "If you're so smart, then pay your own bills." The sentence came out sharp, satisfied. A line drawn authority reasserted. He turned away before I could respond, already reaching for a glass, already assuming the moment had passed. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue back. I nodded once. "Okay," I said. He didn't hear the difference between surrender and acceptance. I went to my room and packed a backpack. Not everything. Just what I needed to not come back the next morning. Laptop, charger, 2 changes of clothes, my documents. I hesitated over a photo on the dresser, then left it face down. I wasn't trying to punish anyone. I just needed the exit to be clean. When I walked past the living room, the television was on. He was watching it like the argument had never happened. My mother glanced up, confused. "I'm heading out," I said. "For how long?" she asked. I shrugged. "Not sure." She opened her mouth, then closed it. In our family, pauses often stood in for permission. Outside, the air felt colder than it should have. I sat in my car with my hands on the steering wheel, waiting for the adrenaline to turn into regret. It didn't. It turned into something heavier, uncertainty, maybe, but it stayed quiet. That first night wasn't empowering. It was awkward. I slept on a friend's couch under a blanket that smelled like laundry detergent I didn't recognize. Every sound felt too loud. Every decision, what to eat, when to sleep, felt newly expensive, even when it wasn't. I paid my own bills, all of them. Some I'd already been paying, just not with my name attached. Rent at home had been helping out. Utilities had been temporary. My phone plan, the internet, a couple of subscriptions. Things had a way of defaulting to me without ever being acknowledged. Now they were acknowledged by absence. Weeks passed. I found a small place. Too small to pretend I was comfortable, but quiet enough to think. I learned what groceries actually cost when you couldn't assume someone else would cover what you forgot. I learned how silence could feel like relief instead of tension. I didn't call home. Neither did he. A month later, my phone rang in the middle of the afternoon. His name lit up the screen. "No message first, no preface," I answered. "What did you do?" he said, skipping any greeting. I leaned back against the counter in my apartment. The place smelled faintly of coffee and dust. "Hi," I said. "The power's off," he continued. "Did you mess with something?" I pictured the house in the dark, not dramatically, just inconveniently. The fridge humming its last. The clocks blinking. Small systems failing all at once. "I didn't mess with anything," I said. "Well, it's off," he said. "And they're saying there's a balance." I waited. He was used to filling silences with certainty. This one asked for something else. "A balance." I repeated. "Yes. Don't play dumb." I closed my eyes briefly, not out of anger, out of calibration. "Did you call the utility company?" "They said the account holder stopped payments." There it was. A word he'd never needed before. "Who's the account holder?" I asked. He hesitated. I could hear papers moving, a drawer opening, the sound of confusion trying to stay in control. "You," he said. I said. Another silence, thicker this time. "I thought," he began, then stopped. He cleared his throat. "Why wouldn't you tell us you were doing that?" I chose my words carefully, not to be kind. "To be precise. You told me to pay my own bills," I said. "So I did. I moved out. I stopped paying for a house I don't live in." "That's not what I meant," he said quickly. "I know," I said. "But it's what you said." The distinction mattered. It was the whole point. "You could have given some warning," he said, voice tightening. "This isn't how family works." I looked around my apartment. The second-hand table. The lamp that flickered if I bumped it. The place didn't look like rebellion. It looked like consequence. "I didn't leave to teach anyone a lesson," I said. "I left because you told me to." He didn't respond. I imagined him standing in the kitchen, phone pressed to his ear, the same room where he'd assumed the argument was over. Authority had worked there for decades. It didn't work on hold with a utility company. So what now? He asked finally. Now, I said, you call them. You set up the account in your name. Or you don't their way, it's not mine anymore. He exhaled sharply. You're really doing this? Yes. There was no anger in my voice. That seemed to unsettle him more than yelling would have. He didn't apologize. He didn't admit he'd relied on me. He ended the call shortly after, saying he had to handle things. He said it like he always had, but it sounded different now. Smaller. Afterward, I sat down on the floor with my back against the couch. My hands were shaking, just a little. Not from fear, from release. Independence didn't arrive with fireworks. It arrived with spreadsheets and awkward phone calls, and the realization that distance was sometimes the only way to stop an argument from repeating forever. My relationship with my father didn't end. It changed shape. Conversations became shorter. Less performative. He didn't ask me to come back. I didn't offer. Some nights, I missed the familiarity. Other nights, I slept better than I ever had. He never said, "Jirai, depended on you." He never had to bow. The power came back on. The house kept running. So did I. Just not from the same place anymore. Oh,